Earful Tower listeners, today's guest is our first ever couple. We got a couple, as in not just a couple of people, but they are in a relationship, engaged. A Swede and a Frenchman. Who are they? Well, they run Le Cadre, which is a sort of embroidery workshop space. Everything about embroidery, these two do. And they embroider, is that a verb? I don't know. Paris, pictures of Paris. But before we get into that, before we even get them in the studio, I want to do a little intro about the event. We had the live event and it was a roaring success. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who participated, contributed, liked, shared, sent well wishes, and indeed attended the event. And we're going to do another one December 13, I think. Mid-December anyway. And this one is going to be very, very, very special. So if you want advance tickets, contact me now, because this, I hope, will sell out too. Now, before we get into the interview, I mentioned that it was a Swede and a Frenchman, and I just want to give a shout out to another person doing something interesting in Sweden, and that is Maddie Savage. And she used to be a journalist for the BBC, but now she's living in Sweden, where I met her recently on a little visit to Sweden. And I wanted to give you guys a little shout out. If you like podcasts, if you're interested in Stockholm, check out her podcast. It's called The Stockholmer. It's on iTunes. It's everywhere you find your podcast. And she sort of does it kind of similar to the Earful Tower in that she's interviewing people who are doing interesting things in that city. So there's all kind of people with design, food, culture, health scene, all that kind of stuff. Short episodes. Check them out. Give her a like. Send her a message and say hello. And but let's talk to a Swede and a Frenchman in the studio. And don't forget to hang around at the end from another story from Corey, which he has miraculously linked to embroidery. Here we go.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.
Okay, so I'm sitting here with Charles and Elin.
Yes,
French and Swedish.
exactly.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much.
We're here to talk about art, but not a usual kind of art. Is that a fair start to this?
Yeah, I think so. It's like bringing old traditional handcraft into the modern art scene, you can say.
Now, that's it. So most people, when they think Paris and when they think Europe and when they think art, they're thinking, what, Mona Lisa? They're thinking the Musée d'Orsay. Not with you guys. We're talking embroidery today, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So where do we even begin when we're talking about embroidery? Where do we even start? Let's start with what you do. You're not just doing Paris stuff. You're doing all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. How did you get into the Paris stuff?
Well, I think it started with actually my dream was always to move to Paris and do arts, and then it's because I've been very inspired by architecture. So when I came here, I started to draw buildings, and then actually when I met Charles and we were doing embroidery together, because I taught him how to do embroidery, and then he was really like urging me to try out to do the architecture drawing as an embroidery, and that's how it started. So.
And how did you react to that, Charles, being taught how to do embroidery? Was it your kind of thing from the beginning?
No, I took time to start. I checked her a lot of time, and then I was like, let me try,
And did you find you had a natural talent? Is this the kind of thing that anyone can do, or do you have to be an arty person?
Natural talent, I wouldn't say so.
He's great.
Yeah?
I think that the bottom line that you need is really, really patience and curiosity to try it out. So we work a lot with sort of basic techniques, but it's the way we incorporate them, layer them on top of each other, the direction and the color combinations that makes us be able to create basically anything. So
Is that where the real talent in embroidery lies? Is it designing the, what do you call it? The
pattern.
The pattern.
Yeah.
Okay, that was easy. So is that where the real talent, because for someone like me who doesn't know anything about pretty much anything, embroidery, for like a beginner like me who's never tried it before, I'd be able to do it, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, so the real talent lies in designing the pattern.
Yeah, and also observing, I think.
Yeah, I think...
Because you can play with the threads, you can play with the volume. Actually, it's very interesting because I have a Beaux-Arts background.
Okay.
So
what does that mean for people who don't know what a Beaux-Arts background is?
Fine art school in Paris.
That's like, Beaux is literally beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, Beaux is
Yeah.
It sounds almost better, doesn't it? Beautiful arts.
Yeah, Beaux-Arts.
Yeah.
And so when you spend time drawing, it's much faster actually than embroidery. So when you actually spend hours on the drawing you just made for making it as an embroidery, it's very interesting, I think. And because you have another perception, another vision about it. Sometimes you can freak out in the middle of it.
What do you
and
mean
you're
freak out in the middle of it?
you don't like it, you know. Like I don't know, you never start something and then you're like, no, I don't like it. But with embroidery, it's another game actually, because you spend so much time on it. Like, should I really give up? And actually, it was super interesting for me because I start to not give up on stuff.
Yeah.
I used to do it a lot with drawing.
How long does it take to from start to finish with an embroidery pattern and design?
It depends.
Oh, we can take anything from like 10 hours and plus, like up to like 200 hours. It really depends. Right now I'm working on an eagle owl, which is like, I've worked on it every day for 3-4
Hang on,
months.
did you say eagle owl?
Yes, it's an
Yeah.
eagle owl.
What's an eagle owl?
We didn't know.
We didn't know either. It's like I think it's an owl but it is an owl, but that has sort of the
It's like saying cow zebra.
Yes, I don't even know the word in English for this sort
The
of.
beak.
Yes,
Yeah.
like an owl, like an eagle.
Yeah.
So it's an owl with a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
wish
pretty
everyone
cool.
could see that.
Yeah. So what Elin was just doing was holding her nose and doing a kind of Pinocchio motion,
Yeah,
which I think signified an eagle owl.
exactly.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about how we met? I mean, the real story how we met is that about 5 minutes ago you walked through the door into the studio. That's how we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the story behind it is one of the regular listeners of this show, Shelley. We're going to give her a shout out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shelley.
Of course.
So you guys actually
Fantastic
know her.
woman.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's great.
Yeah.
So let me tell you the story how I met Shelley.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. So I was sitting in a cafe in Paris, and the truth is, so I was ordering some coffees, and as I was walking out with the coffees, this guy goes, "Hey, Oliver," and I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hey man, I listen to your show all the time." And then he sang my jingle, and it was pretty embarrassing because it was kind of really odd. And I was sitting down, I had a little chat with him. I sat down, I was feeling kind of weird about it, in a good way.
Yeah.
And then this American woman comes up out of the blue, like 10 seconds later, and goes, "I'll do her accent," even though I only talked to her for a second, but I think she'll like it. But she was like, "Hey, you're Oliver." And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Man, I love your podcast. I've done everything that you've done." And then we got talking. She goes, I'll keep doing the accent. She goes, "You should have these guys on. They're really cool." And so I emailed you, and now we're here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
So
you
she's also
did the
in a-
accent kind of good. Though,
Yeah?
I think.
Where's she? Do you know where she's from?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was my Philadelphian accent.
Yes, exactly.
So how you guys obviously in the same circles?
Yeah, we actually, it's the first, how to say, embroidery Instagram friend that we've met. So she just messaged us, but we have been following each other for a while, and she messaged us saying that, yeah, I'm coming to Paris, and what are the do's and don'ts, basically, and you want to meet up? And we were like, yeah, of course, we want to meet up, and we did. And
Cool.
yeah, so it was really great, because, yeah, like we
Yeah, I
said.
think we met before you met her actually.
Right.
The day before, and she planned her like map of Paris full of stuff.
Oh,
and she
wow,
said,
cool.
"Yeah, I listened through Oliver." Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it was pretty.
Thanks,
fun.
Shelley.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She was super organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had
Impressed,
she
huh?
had her little notes and everything,
Do
and
this, do that.
yeah, and a big shout out also to her amazing embroidered necklaces that she does. She gave me one as a engagement present because we just got engaged
Oh,
this summer.
congratulations on your
Thank
engagement.
you.
And we'll put a link to her work as well in
Yeah,
the Facebook
we
page
should,
and
yeah.
on the earfultower.com. But she does. I know that she doesn't do Paris embroidery.
No.
Tell me about your Paris embroidery. What's the best? I've seen some of the ones that you've done, and I encourage everyone to go check out. I mean, you got 2 Instagram accounts, right?
Yeah.
One, yeah.
each.
So what are they? What are they exactly?
It's mine is petronella.art. So
Petronella, 2 L's.
Exactly, 2 L's.
Dot art.
PETRONELLA.art. Exactly.
Hope you all wrote that down.
Yeah.
If not, now that you're on Instagram, how do we follow you, Charles?
Me, it's underline, we say?
Yeah.
Or
Underscore.
underscore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Charles Henry. With
Charles
a
Henry.
Y.
With an H as well.
Underscore.
Charles Henry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyone?
Henry.
Okay, cool. And you guys do videos and stuff. You show, you teach, and then.
Yeah.
But let's talk about these Paris ones because I think this is the most fun,
Yeah.
especially for this show. Tell me about the ones that are the most popular. I mean, you've got street scenes. You've got like.
Yeah, I think Elin started to do some sketching of buildings, and I told her you should just try to make it as an embroidery, and she tried, and we had this idea to do the picture of the embroidery in front of a building, and it's actually when it clicked on Instagram, you got reposted and all, and then we continued this.
Yeah, and I think actually it was a really natural step because, like I said just before we got on air, that it's so like just walking the streets. I'm sure you not being from Paris either can feel the same sort of thrill when you walk the streets and you look around and you just see all of this art everywhere,
Constantly thrilled.
wherever you look. And as I was already sketching, it was such a natural step. And like Charles talked about before, it's since it takes so much time to create it, you really have the time to reflect and observe, and it goes so much more into the work with all of the hours, and it sort of gets its own history. And by doing we like to actually do the effort to either do a process video in front of the building or do the photo, because in that way you connect it to reality and really like show that look around you, the beauty is just there. It's not just everything is well of course we have a lot of things in our head too, but it's like a lot is sort of mirrored and reflected from wherever we are walking every day.
Yeah. And you know what I think Paris is much like embroidery, quite layered in that you can go back down a street that you used to spend a lot of time on 2 years ago and see new things that were always there. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like I get obsessed by little details around Paris, like door knockers or you know what chasse-roux are? The chasse-roux. Those every time I say it, people correct me. It's the little guard, the little sort of ornate guard things out the front of doors. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I get obsessed by them, and I just used to, I went back to the old house I used to live in the second arrondissement, and I'd be like, oh my God, there was some out the front of my own apartment. I never even noticed them.
Yeah.
So I just walk around and I see things almost with fresh eyes every time I'm walking around. That's what I love about this city.
Yeah. But it's really amazing because like since it sort of started, we realized that people actually like to see this, because like for me, for example, I've done art in my room my whole life, but I never thought anyone would want to see it, and this sort of really encourages you to just look. Yeah, it makes you look at the city in another way, and especially for you being from Paris.
I think since I met Elin, I see Paris another way, because I know quite much of Paris. Because
you're from Paris?
Yeah, I'm from Paris.
Born in Paris?
Yeah, I'm born in Paris.
You're rare, you know. A lot of people in Paris aren't from Paris, even the French people. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a lot.
Where were you born?
In 14.
14?
Port Royal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, real Parisian. You might be the first real Parisian we've ever had on the show.
Yeah, well.
But he knows this is a big part also of how this sort of embroidery journey of architecture in Paris has been so amazing. Also, like I think for both of us, but for me, how it's so exciting, because Charles, he knows all of the back roads inside and out, and we just walk everywhere, and like it's amazing.
But that's the funny thing. It's because as I know Paris very well, I spent a lot of time walking, skating, and stuff. I didn't have the inspiration that Elin has. Like, she's amazed about almost everything.
Yeah.
And all my friends, like I had, are mostly from abroad, so they are really amazed too. And I rediscovered my city in a way.
So isn't it cool that a foreigner helped you rediscover your own city? Isn't that cool?
No, it's really cool.
Who has the most Instagram followers?
It's
I do.
Elin.
What's your count? Who's winning? By how much?
I think you're 31 something and I'm 25.
1,000 we're talking here,
Yeah.
not just
1,000.
31 and 25. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. All right, well, something we do on this show, as well as talk about your projects, is just talk about you guys and how you see Paris. And I feel like we're sort of getting into that, so I'm going to let it keep going. But let's address the elephant in the room. You're Swedish and you're French.
Yeah.
What language do you speak?
English.
Yeah, we speak mostly English actually, but we're starting to mix in more and more. Like I speak French already.
Okay.
Now I just said it publicly, like for the first time, because I try to keep a
Good
low
for
profile.
you. That's a big step.
It was a big step for me. But Charles is studying Swedish, so now we're trying to mix it in more and more.
Cool. How good is your Swedish? Would you say you speak Swedish?
Yeah, I'm like 40% according to the application.
Which is that Duolingo?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Duolingo.
okay. 40%.
So I
not
trust Duolingo.
bad. Yeah. 40%. I mean, it's a very tangible thing. I'm 40% fluent in Swedish.
I think it's great.
Well, I've got something for you guys that I think you're going to like. It's a language I invented.
Yeah.
I haven't named it yet. You can help me name it, but it's a mixture of Swedish, French, and English, because I also speak Swedish.
No way.
Party trick, I speak Swedish. I spent about 5 years living in Stockholm.
Really?
No way.
So imagine this. We can do... Anyone out there that speaks the three languages will be able to understand if you guys speak this language with me, but you mix very rapidly Swedish, French, and English words together and just say a sentence. And it's unintelligible for anyone who doesn't speak all three. Shall I give you an example?
Yeah, I feel the pressure now. But
Okay, listen to this. Nej, vi skulle inte regarda en film tonight.
Oh, okay, we were not going to watch a movie tonight.
So you understood perfectly.
Yeah, of
Do you
course.
understand as well?
I do understand.
Yeah.
But I wonder anyone listening if they would have understood it as well.
If they speak all three languages, totally.
And there's very few people that do, I reckon.
but in Sweden it might be though, because in Sweden you start learning English already from like age 7, 8, and then when you start 6th grade you have to choose a third language, which is German, Spanish, or French.
But still, even if all the Swedes in the world understand the language, it's only 10 million speakers.
Yeah.
Valid point.
Do you want to have a go at speaking it? Say a sentence.
Vi sitter entendu ici and talking. No.
That was all right.
Very messy.
Did you understand, Charles?
No, I didn't.
We're sitting, listening, and talking.
Yes.
I think it worked.
Yeah.
It's a language in process.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
no Duolingo app yet.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, for anyone listening that understood that, I salute you for our little conversation. Do you want to have a go as well, Charles?
No, I think I'm gonna pass.
Not yet. What about a name for it? I was thinking Swanglish.
Yeah, because we've already tried
but
to
there are
mix
not enough
Swedish and
French,
French. It's very difficult. But like
Swanglish.
Yeah, maybe we need to come back to the drawing board on that one.
Frengsve.
Where are you from in Sweden?
So I grew up in Falsterbo. It's about 30 kilometers south of Malmö.
Yeah.
So it's literally the little. If you zoom in on a Swedish map, it's a little bird head at the like southwest end.
Yeah.
About
on the coast, right?
Yeah, on the coast. You can see Germany and Denmark from the beach, so it's great. It's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
That means you speak like with a Skånska accent.
Actually, I don't really that much. So I've always been bullied for my messed up Swedish accent because my parents are from Gothenburg, and I learned how to speak because I moved to Falsterbo.
Learn how to speak.
No, but I moved south when I was 5, so I still had the r.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but the intonation in the south, so it's a bit messed up.
This is a tangent. This should be for the Earful Sweden,
Yeah.
which doesn't exist yet. We're on the Earful Tower, France.
Yeah.
Let's stick with it.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about Paris. Well, we've already been speaking for 15 minutes, which means it's actually time for the quickfire round. So there was a look of fear in both of your eyes, but it's okay, perfectly safe. I do it every week. Every guest gets a taste of it.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is ask 5 questions that are unwritten. It's going to go real quick. It's quickfire for me. You have to answer straight away. Now, a lot of guests recently have been saying multiple answers. I'm banning that from this day forth.
Whoa.
So sometimes I say, what's your favorite movie? They say, well, I'm not going to say. And then they say one, and then they you can't do that. Okay, ready? Okay, we'll start with you, Charles. If you had to spend your whole day in Paris in one arrondissement, which would it be?
6.
Why?
Because I love Saint-Germain, I think.
You need to tell me more. You need to elaborate.
I think it's the most representative arrondissement of Paris for me. I mean, it's really nice in terms of history. It has a lot of Latin history, a lot of art, galleries, and the streets are more clean, if I can say.
Definitely more than the right bank.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I'm a left side.
You're a lefty.
Parisian.
Yeah. We've been embracing the left bank recently. We did a whole episode recently. We just spent the whole day in the left bank interviewing people. But that's not the point of the quickfire round. Elin.
Yes.
One building in Paris that you could stand in front of for an hour and just look at.
Louvre.
Not the pyramid or the...
No, not the pyramid.
No.
I don't like it. But it's just because of the sort of... Imagine if you look through a GoPro camera where you get the wide angle view, and in that way it's like so much to look at because it creates this sort of view thing.
You're talking about you go beyond... For anyone that doesn't know what Elin's talking about, you're talking about the Louvre Museum, the building on top.
Yeah.
Right? But not the glass pyramid.
No.
The bit
everything around it basically, except for the glass pyramid. I'm not a big fan of that.
No.
But just the whole detail and the fact of like, you know, it's like when you're just in front. Actually, you're just in front of the pyramid. It's as if you're like surrounded by it.
Yeah, right.
You know. Yeah.
Have you done embroidery on that?
We'll see if it's coming at some point.
Okay, Charles, what thing do you just hate about Paris? Number 1.
Metro.
Why?
Because I think it's the worst metro ever.
Really?
Yeah.
You took the metro to get here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's just the face of Parisian and all that. No, it's true. It's very negative in a way.
Yeah.
Like, mostly the transition I hate, for example, it's when we take a plane, we're coming back in Roissy, and then you take the RER-B to go back in Paris. I think it's the worst reality transition ever. Because you're like, you know, I was maybe in nature 2 hours ago in Sweden, and then you arrive and you're like, whoa. But when you arrive in center of Paris, it's great.
And you know, it's really hard for a lot of tourists to get through, to even find that train. There's not very good signage. considering this is the
I
biggest
think
tourist
it's
destination.
No,
better
not at
for
all.
them to take the bus, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or a taxi.
Or taxi, yeah.
You know they're going to fix it all for the Olympics. They're going to redo a whole new line between.
Yeah, but
yeah.
they are working in the big Paris. It's
Yeah,
been like
Grand-
years.
Grand
Le
Paris,
Grand
yeah,
Paris,
yeah. Okay. Where were we? Quick fire round. You distracted me, Charles. I'll give you a point for that one. Let's talk food, Elin.
Yes.
Take me to a place to get. No. What's your favorite kind of pastry snack?
Pastry. Swiss pain Suisse.
Brioche
Suisse.
What is that?
Oh
We
my
had
God,
this.
I had it yesterday. Okay, so it's like imagine the sort of layered pastry thing that you have in croissant, but it's sort of flat, and then in between you have vanilla cream and chocolate
Wow.
small pieces, and it's just like
Sounds like a heart attack waiting to happen.
oh yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, if you want the best, it's Rue de Rennes.
Rue de Rennes, yeah.
Rue de Rennes, also
Yeah,
on
it's
the left bank.
It's a black bakery, and it's really the best one. I've tried a lot, and this is the best. And I brought her yesterday, finally, and she loved it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's next by Luxembourg, so it's really nice.
So we
Okay.
went to Parc Luxembourg, had the
lovely park.
brioche Swiss, and yeah, it's amazing.
Great horse fountain at the very top end of it,
Yeah,
or bottom
yeah.
end of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question, quick fire round. Because I think it's the first time we've ever had a couple on the show.
Oh.
I'm going to extend the rules and do one that you can both answer.
Okay.
And it's couple related. The most romantic place in Paris, full stop, end of story. You can have an answer each.
Ile de Saint-Louis.
Ile de Saint-Louis,
Yeah,
so that's the island
very
between
romantic.
the left and right banks.
I
Which one is it, though?
It's the one with
The one with the little pointy nose with the weeping willow tree at the front?
it's like it starts to Boulevard Henri IV in fourth, like the fourth part, and goes to like it's not the big island
No,
where
no.
Notre Dame and Ile de la
Right,
Cité
right.
is
So it's
other
the
one.
little one, yeah.
with Bertille en glace and all. I think it's lovely with the quay and all. It's nice.
So we're walking around there. Not we're not doing it, but we're walking around having an
We
ice
can
cream.
if you want.
Well, why not? Why not? I've always wanted to walk around with a Frenchman having ice cream on the Ile
Yeah,
Saint-Louis.
of course.
It's
Okay.
very romantic.
And what about you, Elin? Give me a romantic.
I'm about to break your rule, but I would.
No can do. No, you're not going to say two. I specifically.
I'm not going to say two, but for me, actually, this summer Charles brought me to. It's called Place de Vosges, and it was. I found it quite romantic, just sitting there, and again, you're surrounded by beautiful architecture.
This is a big. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a big park.
It's
down
also
in
a
the
park.
Marais area. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, with the architectural.
Exactly, and where Napoleon, what I believe Napoleon had his.
Yeah, you had some history, but you have
Yeah.
Victor Hugo also.
Oh, yeah, there's a museum is down there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So first you have like a romantic little walk between in Marais in the small streets. Like again, I find the most romantic thing is just walking the streets together, and it's like you're living the Parisian dream, just walking there, holding the one you love in the hand. And then we had
And
a
a
little
brioche in the other hand.
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. And then we had a little ice cream, and we went to the park.
You
and
guys
it's
are in
great.
remarkably good shape for a couple who eats a lot of ice
Well,
cream.
we live on the 6th floor without an
Ah,
elevator,
okay.
so.
You must have loved the walk up to the steps to the
Yeah,
studio.
we
Yeah,
loved
totally.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Easy.
very excited.
Okay, guys, that's the quick fire round. You did very well.
Thanks.
And I'm going to give you a chance. Just shout out your websites and everything. Tell people what they need to look up. Get your phones out, everyone. They're about to tell you. What should they be on?
Well, big shout out to our website. It's lecadre.com and Le Cadre.
Lekadre. Le Cadre. Yep.
And that means the frame in French, though it's spelled with a C in French. So it's basically the frame in and out of where we are doing our creations. We are working on expanding our artworks to do exhibitions. We're doing patterns, monthly pattern programs.
Workshops.
And workshops. Yeah,
Hey, what's the deal with the workshops? Can I come?
Yes, you should totally come. We have one on Saturday. We have one on the 25th November. So right now we've done Paris and we did Copenhagen and Sweden this fall. And now for the spring, we're actually moving. So we're starting to do some stitching webinars and doing workshops in other
Stitchinars.
places. Stitchinars.
Yeah.
You just
Nice.
gave us the name for
Yeah,
it.
correct.
So
There
we
you
have
go.
our Stitchinars. Our Instagrams we said to you before, I believe.
Yep.
And we are also on Facebook. If you just search Le Cadre on Facebook,
Le Cadre
you'll
with
find
a
us
K.
there.
Better Scrabble score with a K than a C
Yeah.
anyway, I always say.
Yeah.
And while you're talking about Instagram, I'm going to plug my own. I'm not very good at it. But it's at the Earful Tower. If you follow them, you may as well. I mean,
Follow-
they may as well
yeah,
follow.
yeah,
Of course.
totally.
I mean, jeez.
You should.
All right, guys, you have been on the Eiffel Tower. Thanks for coming in. And
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
good luck with the stitchinars and the embroidery and everything.
Thank you so
and
much
thanks
for
again,
having
Shelley,
us.
for pointing us out.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, Shay.
Cool.
Woo-hoo.
Corey Fry, French Fry in Paris.
Here I am.
Welcome to the studio.
It's good to see you.
Do you want to press the jingle button?
Okay, I can press
Yeah,
it?
go on, reach over.
Here we go. This is exciting.
It's a Corey story.
Well pressed.
Oh, that's great.
So, I've just been talking embroidery. Who knew there was so much about embroidery?
Who knew? There's kind of like I don't want to call it a subculture, that's demeaning, but
Call
there's
it a
this
cult.
yeah, that's not demeaning at all. Yeah, there's really a group of people who are hardcore into it, and God love them. It's great.
And you know what? You know how I found these guys?
How's that?
Do you know Shelley sells lemonade? That's
Yeah.
not just a fact. Shelley sells lemonade. That's an
Yeah.
Instagram name.
Shelley was a client of mine. We did a couple of tours together, and she's awesome.
She's awesome.
She's
Big fan of the show.
Yeah, lovely.
And I'd have her on the show if she didn't live in America.
Yeah, I know. We got to fly her over. I know she wanted
The
to
budget. There's a big budget problem with that. We can't fly her over.
You mean the budget of zero?
Yes, that's the big problem. But thanks for listening, Shelley. Thanks for your tips. Thanks for coming on Corey's Tours.
Thanks, Shelley.
And,
Hello. Shout out.
And yeah, keep up the good embroidery yourself.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
link to her embroidery
She's
too.
good at it. Yeah.
But how on earth did you come up with a story that could possibly match embroidery?
Yeah, I had to rack my brain a little bit, but I actually found a link to embroidery sort of historically, and it actually is linked to a ghost story at Notre Dame Cathedral. Somehow, believe it or not, there's a little bit of an embroidery link there.
Yeah.
So you'll know it when you hear it.
Just weave it all together, Corey.
Okay, so I want to go back to 1882. Okay, Notre Dame, people were visiting it just like we do now. And it was a cold, rainy October day, okay? The rain started falling, and there was a young girl who wanted to climb to the top of the bell towers, which you can do. It's 400 and something stairs.
How much does it cost? Is it free? It's not free, is
No,
it?
it's not free at all.
Never
no.
done that.
But people who want to go climb to the top, you should know that there's a brand new app. And I wish I could remember the name. It's something called like Je File or something like that. And anyway, you can look for it, and you can reserve your time slot to go up to the
neat.
bell towers.
Yeah, cool.
And because the line there is just infernal.
Yeah.
So you can avoid that. So look for, I'm sorry I don't have the name, but Google for an app that allows you to pre-book a time period to
Sure.
go up top. You'll save time.
Good tip.
Thank you. So 1882, this girl wants to go to the bell towers, but in the 19th century, if you were an unaccompanied young lady, you weren't allowed to do things like that on your own. So she was blocked despite her pleas, and they're like, nope, you got to come up with a chaperone. So she looks around for a stranger. She finds an old lady in the square there, the Parvis, as we call it, in front of Notre Dame, and she befriends this lady and takes her to breakfast, convinces the old lady to go up with her and escort her to the top of the towers. So the lady's like, okay, you seem like a nice enough girl. So they're climbing up there, and by the time they get to the top, it starts raining harder and harder. It turns into this torrential downpour. And so the old lady takes refuge under the bell ringer's tower, as do other people. And then all of a sudden she turns and she sees through the rain that standing on the ledge of the bell tower is this young girl planning to jump and end it all.
Oh my God.
That's why she wanted to get up. So everyone screams, all the other visitors, and they lunge to grab her, but it's too late. And she plummets and jumps and sort of falls through the rain and lands right on the square in front of the doors of Notre Dame. Now, not to get too graphic, folks, I hope you're not eating your breakfast during this. But
No one's eating their breakfast. They're on their commute home.
Okay, fair enough. So don't crash your car when you hear this. But there's a big iron gate, a black gate that runs across the entrances of Notre Dame. Well, they say her body hit it, and she was cut in half.
Impaled. And then cut in
Impaled, yeah.
half. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
literally in half.
Yeah.
So obviously very traumatic. And so when they're investigating minutes after, figuring out like what happened, who is this girl, they couldn't find her name, but what they found in her purse was a little bit of a clue as to her identity. It was an embroidered handkerchief, and it had the initials MJ.
Michael Jordan. It was Michael Jordan.
That was Michael Jackson. What are you talking about?
1812. No, couldn't have been.
1882.
Okay, 1882. Okay, so they're...
So we only know her as MJ, but they say that on cold, rainy days in particular, her ghost can be seen flitting about up in the bell towers, and you can hear her laughing and screaming. And some people, when they visit up top there, they claim that they feel, like they're being brushed up against by something. And
That's
they have
the pickpockets.
I don't know if pickpockets work that hard climbing up 400 stairs.
They do it at the Eiffel Tower, I've heard.
Oh, yeah, they block escalators and things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, just generally, if you're in Paris and you're on an escalator, just be vigilant.
Sure. So you can feel the ghost of MJ.
The ghost of MJ at the bell towers of Notre Dame.
Wow, I like that one too.
They even say that when it rains, the bells of the church, because they ring out several times a day, they actually ring a little bit louder in the rain because MJ is helping the bells to
What's
ring.
the French name, MJ?
Do they have a French version of Mary Jane?
I was
'Cause
thinking that too.
That's what I always go to.
Marie
Jacques.
Jacques. Wow, that's a cool story.
Marie Jacqueline.
Yeah, okay, that's got me thinking. I like a ghost story.
Yeah, good ghost
You
story.
know, I once found someone once sent me a picture of a ghost at the Notre Dame. It was a light, an unusual light, and they said, "Is this a ghost? Can you figure it out?" And I did some research. I talked to like a ghost expert, and they said, "Yeah, probably a ghost." And now I know it was probably MJ.
Well, if you join me for a tour of French Fry in Paris, FRYE, I have a lot of ghost stories, a lot of stuff that you won't find in the guidebooks. And so if you're interested in that kind of thing, let me know.
Are you talking to me? I'll do it. I'll come.
I'm talking to you, but hopefully a few other people as well if we've done our job here.
We should do one where I come on a tour and we have listeners come on as well. You want to do that?
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Who wants to do that? Raise your hand.
Send a message with MJ as the title.
Ooh.
And we'll
it'll
figure
be
it out.
Our own secret code.
Okay, guys, thanks for listening. I'm impressed that you tied a story to embroidery. Well done, Corey.
I do my best for you.
Well
my friend.
done. Good link. And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Au revoir. À bientôt. À la prochaine. Goodbye.
Earful Tower with Oliver G.